Have you ever been sitting in a restaurant, thinking about something that's been weighing on your mind, when suddenly you hear the people at the table behind you talking about the exact same thing? Or have you ever wanted to call someone, and within minutes, your phone rings, and it's that very person on the other end? Have you ever walked into a bookstore with no particular book in mind, only to have one practically fall off the shelf into your hands, and it contains exactly the answer you've been searching for? Or met someone at a random coffee shop who turns out to have the exact connection you need for your career? Most people dismiss these as coincidences. But what if I told you they're not? What if I told you there's a frequency, a vibrational signature, that 99% of people never discover? And when you learn to tune into it, these coincidences become your normal, everyday experience. Today, I'm going to share with you the story of someone who found this frequency, and more importantly, I'm going to show you exactly how you can find yours. Let me tell you about Elena Rodriguez. 3 years ago, I met her at a networking event in downtown Chicago. She was standing in the corner, clutching a coffee cup like it was a lifeline, watching everyone else effortlessly work the room. When I approached her, she looked up with these tired eyes and said, "I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I've been trying to make my business work for 2 years, and it feels like I'm invisible." Elena had all the right credentials: MBA from Northwestern, years of corporate experience, a solid business plan. But she was stuck, really stuck, living in a studio apartment, eating ramen for dinner more nights than she cared to admit, watching her savings account dwindle while her dreams felt further away than ever. But here's what makes Elena's story extraordinary. 18 months later, she called me from her new office overlooking Lake Michigan. Her company had just closed a 7-figure deal. She was engaged to someone she'd met through a random encounter at a bookstore. Her life looked completely different. What changed? Not her strategies, not her network, not even her circumstances initially. What changed was her frequency. Now, when I say frequency, I'm not talking about some mystical, woo-woo concept that you can't measure or understand. I'm talking about something very real, very scientific, and very measurable. Everything in our universe, and I mean everything, vibrates at specific frequencies. The chair you're sitting on, the air you're breathing, the thoughts you're thinking right now. Modern physics has proven that matter itself is just energy vibrating at different rates. Einstein showed us that mass and energy are interchangeable. What appears solid is actually dancing particles of energy. But here's where it gets interesting for your life. You're not just a receiver of frequencies. You're a broadcaster. Every thought, every emotion, every belief you hold creates an electromagnetic field that extends beyond your physical body. The HeartMath Institute has documented that your heart's electromagnetic field can be measured up to 8 feet away from your body. Think about that for a moment. You're literally broadcasting your internal state to everyone and everything around you all the time. The question isn't whether you're sending out a signal. You are. The question is, what signal are you sending? Elena's awakening came on a Tuesday morning in October. She was sitting in the same coffee shop she'd been going to for months, laptop open, staring at the same business proposal she'd been tweaking for weeks. She was about to close her laptop in frustration when she overheard a conversation at the next table. 2 women were discussing a project that needed exactly the kind of expertise Elena had been trying to sell for months. One of them was saying, "I wish I knew someone who could handle this kind of strategic planning. We've been looking everywhere." Elena's first thought was, "I should say something." Her second thought was, "But what if they reject me? What if I'm not good enough?" And in that moment, she made a choice that would change everything. Instead of listening to that second voice, she walked over and introduced herself. But here's the crucial part. As she was walking those 10 feet to their table, she did something different. Instead of broadcasting her usual frequency of desperation and need, she took a deep breath and asked herself, what would someone who is already successful do in this moment? The energy shift was immediate. She introduced herself not as someone who needed their business, but as someone who had the solution to their problem. The conversation flowed naturally. By the end of that 15-minute discussion, she had her first major client. What happened in that coffee shop wasn't magic. It was quantum physics in action. When Elena shifted her internal frequency from need to contribution, from lack to abundance, she changed her electromagnetic signature. The people at that table felt it, even though they couldn't articulate what was different about her approach. Dr. Masaru Emoto's groundbreaking research with water crystals showed us that different frequencies of thought and emotion literally reshape matter at the molecular level. When water was exposed to loving, grateful thoughts, it formed beautiful, symmetrical crystals. When exposed to negative, fearful thoughts, the crystals became distorted and chaotic. Now, considering that your body is roughly 70% water, what do you think your habitual thoughts and emotions are doing to your cellular structure? What frequency are you broadcasting at the most fundamental level? But there's more. The field of epigenetics has shown us that our thoughts and emotions actually influence gene expression. Dr. Bruce Lipton's research demonstrates that our beliefs and perceptions control our biology more than our DNA does. Your frequency isn't just affecting your external reality. It's literally reshaping your internal reality at the cellular level. Here's what I've observed after working with thousands of people. 99% of us are unconsciously broadcasting frequencies of lack, worry, and limitation. We wake up thinking about what we don't have, what might go wrong, what we need to fix about ourselves or our lives. We broadcast the frequency of, "I'm not enough," while trying to attract success. We broadcast the frequency of "love is hard to find," while trying to attract relationships. We broadcast the frequency of "money is scarce," while trying to attract abundance. And then we wonder why we keep attracting evidence of not being enough. Relationships that confirm love is hard to find, and financial situations that prove money is scarce. The universe doesn't respond to your conscious desires. It responds to your vibrational frequency. It gives you more of what you're broadcasting, not what you're wanting. Sarah's transformation wasn't immediate or smooth. After that first client success, she expected everything to change overnight. But old patterns are persistent. Within a week, she found herself slipping back into familiar frequencies of doubt and scarcity. She told me later, "I felt like I was fighting myself. Part of me wanted to believe this new way of being was possible, but another part of me kept pulling me back to the old frequency. It was like I was addicted to struggle." This is crucial to understand. Your current frequency feels normal to you, even if it's not serving you. Your nervous system is wired to maintain homeostasis, to keep you in familiar patterns. Change, even positive change, feels threatening to the part of your brain that's trying to keep you safe. Sarah had to learn to recognize what I call frequency hijacking. Those moments when your old programming tries to pull you back into familiar patterns of lack, fear, and limitation. She had to develop what I call frequency awareness, the ability to notice in real time what signal you're broadcasting. The real breakthrough came when Sarah realized she had been trying to force herself into a frequency that wasn't authentically hers. She was trying to broadcast aggressive entrepreneur when her natural frequency was collaborative problem solver. She was trying to be someone else's version of successful instead of discovering her own authentic resonance. This is where most people get stuck. They try to copy someone else's frequency instead of discovering their own. They try to be the aggressive salesperson when they're naturally the nurturing teacher. They try to be the flashy marketer when they're naturally the thoughtful strategist. Your authentic frequency isn't something you create, it's something you discover. It's who you are when you strip away all the conditioning, all the shoulds, all the stories you've been told about who you need to be successful. Sarah's authentic frequency was that of a strategic connector, someone who could see patterns and possibilities that others missed, and who could bring the right people and resources together to create something bigger than the sum of its parts. Once she embraced this frequency, everything began to flow. Let me share with you the exact process Sarah used to discover and consistently broadcast her authentic frequency. This isn't theory. This is a practical, step-by-step method that you can start using immediately. Step 1, frequency awareness. For the next week, I want you to become a frequency detective. Throughout the day, pause and ask yourself, what frequency am I broadcasting right now? Notice what you're feeling in your body. Are your shoulders tense? Is your breathing shallow? Are you feeling contracted or expanded? Your body is your most accurate frequency detector. Tension, anxiety, and stress are indicators that you're broadcasting a frequency of lack or fear. Ease, excitement, and expansion are indicators that you're broadcasting a frequency of abundance and possibility. Don't judge what you find. Just notice. Awareness is the first step to change. Step 2. Identify your frequency patterns. After a week of observation, you'll start to notice patterns. Maybe you broadcast confidence in the morning, but slip into doubt by afternoon. Maybe you feel abundant when you're alone, but contracted when you're around certain people. Maybe you're expansive when you're creating, but fearful when you're sharing your creations. These patterns are valuable information. They show you where your frequency is stable and where it needs support. Step 3. Discover your authentic frequency. Think back to moments in your life when you felt most alive, most yourself, most in flow. What was happening? Who were you being? What energy were you embodying? For Sarah, it was the moment she realized she could see solutions that others couldn't, and she could bring people together to implement those solutions. For you, it might be something completely different. Your authentic frequency is connected to your deepest values, your natural gifts, and your genuine desire to contribute to the world. It's not about what you think you should want. It's about what genuinely lights you up from the inside. Step 4. Practice frequency shifting. Now comes the practical part. When you catch yourself broadcasting a frequency that isn't serving you, you're going to practice shifting. Here's the technique. Pause. Take 3 deep breaths. Ask yourself, how would the version of me living my most authentic life respond to this moment? Then embody that response, even if it feels foreign at first. This isn't about pretending or faking it. It's about accessing the part of you that already exists, the part that's aligned with your authentic frequency. As Sarah continued to practice frequency shifting, something remarkable happened. Her external world began to reorganize itself around her new internal frequency. Her existing clients started referring her to bigger opportunities. She began attracting team members who shared her vision. She met her future partner in the most unexpected place, a bookstore where she'd gone to research her industry, and he was doing research for a complementary business. But here's what's most important. These weren't miraculous coincidences. They were the natural result of broadcasting a clear, authentic frequency. When you're consistently broadcasting who you truly are and what you truly offer, the universe responds by bringing you people and opportunities that match that frequency. Let me share some fascinating research that explains why frequency shifting works so effectively. Dr. Amit Goswami, a quantum physicist, has shown that consciousness creates reality, not the other way around. Your conscious choice of frequency literally influences the field of possibilities around you. When you shift your frequency, you're not just changing your internal state, you're changing the quantum field that surrounds you. Research in neuroscience shows that our brains are constantly scanning our environment for information that matches our internal state. This is called the reticular activating system, and it's why you suddenly notice red cars everywhere after you decide you want a red car. But it goes deeper than just noticing. When you broadcast a clear frequency, you're literally creating a magnetic field that attracts matching frequencies. People who resonate with your authentic frequency are drawn to you. Opportunities that match your frequency become visible to you. If this is so powerful, why don't more people discover their authentic frequency? There are several reasons. First, we're conditioned to broadcast other people's frequencies. From childhood, we're taught to be who others want us to be rather than who we authentically are. We learn to broadcast the frequency of good student, obedient child, responsible employee, instead of discovering our own authentic resonance. Second, we're afraid of our own power. Your authentic frequency is connected to your deepest gifts and your highest potential. That's both exciting and terrifying. It means you're capable of more than you've been settling for, and that requires you to step into a bigger version of yourself. Third, we're addicted to struggle. Strange as it sounds, Many of us are unconsciously attached to the frequency of struggle because it feels familiar. We've been broadcasting it for so long that it feels like home. The idea of things being easy or flowing naturally feels foreign and untrustworthy. Fourth, we don't believe we deserve it. Deep down, many of us don't believe we deserve to live from our authentic frequency. We don't believe we deserve to have our work be fulfilling, our relationships be supportive, our lives be abundant. Sarah's story didn't end with finding her authentic frequency. It evolved. As she continued to practice frequency awareness and shifting, she discovered that she had multiple authentic frequencies, different aspects of herself that were all genuinely her. She had her strategic frequency for business planning, her nurturing frequency for team building, her creative frequency for innovation, and her playful frequency for life balance. She learned to consciously choose which frequency to broadcast based on what the situation called for. But here's what's most important. She learned that maintaining her authentic frequency wasn't a one-time achievement. It was an ongoing practice. Every day, she had to choose to broadcast authentically rather than slipping back into old patterns of lack and limitation. Once you've discovered your authentic frequency and practiced shifting into it, you can begin to work with what I call frequency mastery. This is where the real magic happens. Frequency mastery involves several elements. Intentional broadcasting. You learn to consciously choose your frequency based on what you want to create or attract. Going to a job interview, broadcast confidence and competence. Meeting potential romantic partners, broadcast openness and authenticity. Working on a creative project, broadcast innovation and flow. Frequency matching. You learn to recognize the frequencies of others and adjust your own frequency to create harmony or influence. This isn't about manipulation. It's about communication at the deepest level. Frequency healing. You learn to use your frequency to heal and transform not just your own life, but to positively influence the lives of others. When you broadcast love, peace, and abundance, you create a field that supports others in accessing those same frequencies. Frequency creation. You learn to broadcast frequencies that don't just attract what already exists, but that actually create new possibilities. This is where true innovation and breakthrough happen. Here's something that might surprise you. Your frequency doesn't just affect your personal life. It affects the collective frequency of humanity. Think about it. If you're broadcasting fear, anxiety, and limitation, you're contributing to a collective field of fear, anxiety, and limitation. But if you're broadcasting love, peace, and abundance, you're contributing to a collective field of love, peace, and abundance. Every person who discovers their authentic frequency and broadcasts it consistently is literally helping to raise the vibrational frequency of the entire planet. You're not just transforming your own life, you're participating in the transformation of human consciousness itself. Let me give you a daily practice that will help you discover and maintain your authentic frequency. Morning frequency setting. Before you check your phone or engage with the outside world, spend 5 minutes connecting with your authentic frequency. Ask yourself, who do I want to be today? What frequency do I want to broadcast? Midday frequency check. At noon, pause and assess your frequency. Are you broadcasting authentically, or have you slipped into old patterns? If you've slipped, use the shifting technique to realign. Evening frequency review. Before bed, review your day from a frequency perspective. When were you most aligned? When did you slip into old patterns? What did you learn about your authentic frequency? Weekly frequency deepening. Once a week, spend longer time exploring your authentic frequency. Journal about it, meditate on it, or engage in activities that naturally align you with it. Sarah's transformation is ongoing. 3 years later, she's not just successful in business. She's living a life that feels authentic and aligned. She's married to her best friend, running a company that makes a real difference in the world. And most importantly, she's broadcasting a frequency that inspires others to discover their own authentic resonance. But here's what she told me recently that I think is most important. The external success is wonderful, but what I'm most grateful for is that I finally feel like myself. I'm no longer trying to be someone else's version of successful. I'm being my own version of authentic. As we near the end of our time together, I want to leave you with this. Your authentic frequency is not something you need to create or build or earn. It already exists within you. It's been there all along, waiting for you to discover it and broadcast it consistently. The question isn't whether you have an authentic frequency. You do. The question is whether you're ready to discover it and live from it. Right now, as you're listening to this, what frequency are you broadcasting? Are you broadcasting doubt about whether this could work for you? Are you broadcasting excitement about the possibilities? Are you broadcasting fear about what might change if you started living authentically? Whatever you're broadcasting, that's perfect information. It's showing you where you are now, which is the starting point for where you want to go. I want to make you an invitation. For the next 30 days, commit to discovering and broadcasting your authentic frequency. Use the practices I've shared. Pay attention to what happens in your external world as your internal frequency shifts. Don't expect overnight transformation. Frequency shifting is a practice, not a destination. But do expect to notice changes. Do expect to feel more aligned, more energized, more authentically yourself. And here's what I know will happen. As you begin broadcasting your authentic frequency, you'll attract people and opportunities that match that frequency. You'll start to create a life that feels genuinely aligned with who you are. The frequency 99% of people never discover isn't a secret technique or a hidden method. It's the recognition that you already are who you're meant to be, and you already have everything you need to live authentically. The frequency shift isn't about becoming someone different. It's about remembering who you've always been beneath the conditioning, beneath the fear, beneath the stories about what's possible. Sarah discovered her frequency, and it changed everything. Not because she became someone different, but because she finally started being who she'd always been. Your authentic frequency is waiting for you. The question is, are you ready to discover it? Thank you for spending this time with me exploring the frequency that shapes everything. If this resonates with you, and I mean really resonates, not just intellectually, but in your body, I encourage you to begin the practice today. Start with frequency awareness. Notice what you're broadcasting. Pay attention to how your internal frequency affects your external reality. And remember, every time you choose to broadcast your authentic frequency, you're not just transforming your own life. You're contributing to the transformation of human consciousness itself. The world needs your authentic frequency. It needs what you have to offer when you're being fully, authentically yourself. Your frequency matters. Your authenticity matters. You matter. Until next time, keep broadcasting authentically.